Hey there, Jenna here. I am talking today about an article I just wrote about the burden of being a nice person. So, I am a recovering nice person and I consider myself a nice person, but there are problems with the need to be liked and the perpetual pattern of putting yourself last in order to avoid conflict and all of that kind of stuff. So, what are you going to learn today? My trusty notes, because I am known to go on tangents. Today, I'm going to talk about what that even means, the burden of being a nice person. It doesn't mean to be a not nice person, doesn't mean to go to the other side and just be a jerk and not care. And it's really not what I'm talking about. But to consider that there are patterns that are creating, so symptoms would be repressed anger and frustration, and then it kind of just turns into this slow burn of exhaustion for people that are being overly nice and overly accommodating, and kind of like, you know who you are. Like, this will just sound like, oh yeah, even just the burden of being a nice person, like, oh yeah, that's me. But what do you do about it? You don't just be like, oh, I'm going to be a jerk now, because that's not a solution either, because it is our essence as a person who cares. I care deeply, and as a person who cares deeply, I don't want people to hurt or to create conflict or to rock the boat. And then the problem with that, though, is it's like sometimes you just need to have a conversation and sometimes you just need to speak up. So something nice people do is they are like, it's okay, whatever you want, it doesn't matter. And so my point number one in the article is that you matter and they matter. You matter and they matter. So it's not like, so some people that get off of the bandwagon of like perpetually being a kind of a doormat nice person is they kind of go, okay, fine, I'm just not going to care and I'm going to, and they kind of put up walls, and that's not the solution. What we can do is acknowledge, and this is like my core teachings, right? That your body, your heart, your spirit, your being is constantly guiding you and is intrinsically connected to the whole. In which case, if you're connected to you and your preferences, your authentic, true preferences, inherently, intelligently, it's best for the whole. It's best for the other person. So if something I learned in psychotherapy training that really stuck, when like you can learn all this stuff, but then there's like those little nuggets that really stick with you. This is one that Ken Sullivan, one of the psychotherapy teachers at Transformational Arts College, said, and he said, if it's insistent, consistent, and persistent, you pay attention. So if there's something bugging you as a nice person and you're used to keeping the peace and you're used to all of these things, then, I'm just going to move this over, so just pay attention if I'm not being fully present. Then you are used to putting yourself last and you're used to not having an opinion. And the thing is, though, people like giving. So nice people also like giving, but they get so used to giving, they don't know how to receive. But consider how good it feels to give. And that if you're constantly not having preferences and just always putting yourself last and always putting yourself on the back burner, no one's going to know how to give to you. And then they'll just kind of stop. They'll just kind of get used to it. Like, you've essentially, this is point number two, you teach people how to treat you based on your self-relationship. And this was a huge, huge thing for me. So point number one is you matter and they matter. Okay, so by you paying attention to you, you're actually being of higher service. That's like a biggie for people. You're of higher service when you value yourself, because that is what everyone needs to come home back to, that knowing, and then act from there, and then work together and communicate. And so sometimes, like, you know, if you've been listening to me, that I love the idea of consistency, simplicity and consistency, and just, you know, being very compassionate and self-forgiveness, and that you keep going and keep trucking. You don't not get into action, but you let go of the perfectionist, and you let go of having to know all the answers, and you just kind of start small and slow and consistent. And that is the key for all of this work. So when you have those symptoms that I mentioned, some exhaustion and some resentment, and then you're guilty because you're resentful, then you're kind of in this position of the burden of being a nice person. And it's totally, totally in your power to reset that pattern. It is no one else's job but you. You teach people how to treat you. So you matter, they matter. Your self-relationship. So consider on your priority list. Often it'll be, if you have kids, it's kids, or it'll be work, or it'll be the husband, or it'll be the, you know, the partner. I work with a lot of women. It'll be the partner. It'll be, you know, sometimes it's just random tasks for people that actually aren't even of a high priority in your life, but you said you do it, so you're obligated. So there you are. And what sort of, and you know, this isn't about being a nice person and a not nice person, but this is just like this conditioning that we have in society around be nice and like keep the peace. And sometimes we just gotta say, I don't want Italian food, I want sushi. Or, you know, that's not a conflict. That's just a preference. And that's you using your voice. Your voice, this throat chakra right here, it's an energy center, but you'll notice like people like swallow back what they're feeling. Then that can lead to a whole host of other problems with the energy not moving. But your throat chakra is like you being truthful with yourself in the world. It's you showing up with your truth in the world. It's so powerful. So just saying, say you're in the car and there's like music you really want to listen to, and it doesn't have to be the whole time. You're just like, oh, I really want to hear this song. I love this song. And just using your voice. Like nice people don't use their voice. They're just staying quiet. And so my invitation is to begin using your voice, and to be probably surprised and delighted sometimes, because people like, what I find all the time when I give my clients this homework, okay, people are like, okay, we'll go there. And I learned to use my voice the more that more parts of my spirit were coming home to my body, using shamanism, doing transformational work, doing my own self-healing work. And not like that's the only thing to do, because there's also just living life and having fun and being out in the world. But doing all of that transformational work allowed me to find and use my voice, and kind of have enough self-value to use my voice. So we've got 1 is you matter, they matter. 2 is your self-relationship teaches people how to treat you. So notice your priorities. I don't even think I finished that thought. Notice your priorities and put yourself on the list. Do you want to meditate? Do you want to read that book? Do you want to get in there, exercise? Do you want to eat a bit healthier? And like you find yourself buying all the food for everyone else. What are some other examples? And the workplace, that might show up as not really giving your opinion and not really putting yourself out there. Again, it's just like people are just going to get used to that, and they're just going to get used to you acquiescing to everything else. They're going to get used to you not having any needs or preferences. But when you start to use your voice, people are like, oh, okay, cool. And you know what's surprising is it's really awesome, especially in a romantic relationship, when you know what you want. Oh, that person is like, okay, they want pizza, or they like chocolate cake, or you know what I mean? It's just like the stuff doesn't matter. But using your voice and knowing yourself. And you know, when I work with people, sometimes at the beginning, now not so much lately, people don't even know what lights them up. They don't even know what they want to do. Like, do they like gardening? Do they like painting? Like, it doesn't have to be a hobby per se, but you do need to start to claim your life for yourself, and then the world will pay attention, and then you can start to receive. Because being silently resentful isn't actually that nice. You know, like when we get really honest with ourselves, that seething sort of resentment of always putting yourself last, because that's what you're doing, is you're putting yourself last, is completely, all the power is in your hands to start putting yourself forward and working and not being in an arrogant, entitled way, but like in a participatory way of a relationship with people. And then people will want to come and meet you where you are in this sense of self-worth and self-value that you're starting to show up with. So these are some of the tips to start to weave this into your life. Again, with just small steps, awareness and consistency, you can start to retrain these patterns. Third one's a big one. Using anger as information and a signal. So anger, and when I say anger, most night people are like, "Ooh, no, to anger equals bad." I don't mean reaction, and I don't mean treating people like a jerk. I don't mean like, so most people have toxic anger. That's what reactive anger that is like a temper tantrum for adults. That's not what I'm talking about. But like healthy anger is like, God, I can't let that go. And I'm gonna like fire it up. And, or like, if someone's just too close to you in line, you're just perturbed and you're just go away because they're just a little too close. And so your body is saying, yeah, I don't like that. That's a little too close. And you know what I mean? You can just move, or you can actually ask them like, oh, excuse me, just maybe that would be a little bit too much. I don't think I would do that, but I would just move myself. And just pay attention to your energy. And that's why being in your body and connecting to your heart, like the main curriculum that I teach about your, You Are the Manual system. If you don't know that, just go to my website, jennasmithcoaching.com, and you can learn the You Are the Manual system. But your body and your emotions are guides. And that anger, when listened to, not when you like repress it for years and years and years and years, and then it's like, oh my gosh, this like overflow. So I help people to manage that. But in the beginning, you can just be aware that anger isn't bad. Anger is misunderstood. And anger, when it comes to being a nice person, is an indication of an energy imbalance. And that indication of the energy imbalance is meant for you to pay attention. And that's it. And so I really highly encourage things like journaling to process the anger, because you might want to just like really give it to somebody. And then you might find yourself displacing anger through the day. You might get mad at your pet and your kid and the person at the coffee shop and the driving, and you're just grumpy. And then you're like, okay, what's really going on for me? This would be the journal prompt. What's really going on for me? And then you rant, and you just write. You don't, no proper grammar, no punctuation. You'll notice I have typos in my articles all the time. I've gotten over the perfectionist thing. But it doesn't mean you're not going to be of a high level of quality. It's just that this whole needing to be nice, needing to hold it all together, needing to put yourself last, that can be shaken up, and that you can start to change right away. So use anger as an indication. Use the journaling to get yourself to clarity and move the energy through. If you're really angry, go for a walk, do something physical, clean your house aggressively. That anger wants action. So, and that might mean prepping for a conversation that you need to have. Like you need to have that talk with that boss, that coworker, get supported, all those things. So it's not just about reaction. It's just using the anger as an indicator in order to pay attention for clarity for yourself. So those are like just the beginning of starting to rejig yourself, so that really what it comes down to is that it's not nice to hold all of your own preferences, opinions, and feelings back in order for someone else to feel better. It's imbalanced. It doesn't work anyways. It doesn't work for you. It doesn't even work for the other people. Like nobody wants someone else to swallow all their own feelings. Like I don't want that. I love when my friends are like, gosh, Jenna, you were really abrupt right now. And I'm like, oh, sorry. I don't want to act that way. I don't want to treat people poorly. So I've gotten a handle on it. It was really bad in my 20s, but that's why we mature. But this is the thing. So what you can walk away with today, if you are feeling that burden of being a nice person, is just to consider, wow, I am doing these things. And just start small with your preferences, and start small with treating yourself differently, and then use your emotional indicators as information in order to sort of navigate your life and know how and to pick relationships. If you have friends that are constantly letting you down, right? It's okay. No, it's not okay. Just, like, it's okay to like step away. It's okay to have someone else be upset because you spoke your truth. And this takes a lot of work. So I know this is just an article and a video, and this is the beginning. If you have any questions, please just email me at info@jennasmithcoaching.com, but also equally jennasmithcoaching.com. You will, there's a little chat bot on there, and that message will be emailed to me directly. So if you have any questions about this, then just reach out and I am happy to answer them. And good luck putting yourself first, and you can still be a super nice person, and you'll actually be a nice person that's also respected, and you'll also enjoy being yourself and enjoy being in relationship because you have this now healthy relationship to yourself. So good luck with that. Till next time, I'm Jenna.